I'm going to show you exactly how I'm breaking down the market every single day. And also too, this really changed the entire way that I view the market, and ultimately every single person that I think that I encounter or that I talk about trading with is in Discord, Twitter, even here on YouTube. I believe this has helped them tremendously, because when you look at the market, most people, when it comes to trading options, look at it this way. You pick a stock that you like, you trade options on it, you try to make money. This is like the ABC way people look at this. And I think this is the entire wrong way, and this is what turns things into gambling. Because have you ever been in a trade and you're like, okay, well, the setup was perfect, we had the bull flag, we broke out, you looked fantastic on Tesla, but for some reason you dropped. Well, 9 out of 10 times, it starts with point A, and you're just picking a stock. Now, we need to understand something, and it's something that I mention all the time here. Just because you pick a stock and you like a stock doesn't mean it has to go in a direction. It also, you need to understand, is that you're trying to take something from the market. You're trying to say, okay, well, this is my setup. This is perfect. I'm going to take it. It just has to happen. When in reality, how I view the market, how I'm looking at the market is, okay, this is what the market's providing me with today. What can I take that it's willing to give me? That's what changed everything with my trading. I'm going to walk you through this step-by-step process and where this really begins. And again, it's not going to be a super long video, and I'm going to hopefully break everything down for you as simple as possible. Now, I'm going to say right now, I'm not going to go into strategy about how I'm entering, why I'm entering, but I'm going to go around this psychology. So if you already have a strategy, I'm not going to reteach you anything, right? Very important to understand. It's just more about the process of getting into a trade and what you're really looking for, okay? Now, I do want to say right now, if you want to get more information on my strategy, how I'm trading, there's a few things you can do. Now, number one, I try to make as much free content for you as possible. I literally made a second YouTube channel last year, really before that, but last year I made so much free education. So if you look up Tyler Wilson OD on YouTube, it'll pop right up. And these are all educational videos on exactly how I'm trading. A lot of them I do break down with futures trading, but you'll see how that lines right back up with stocks, equities, etc. So important to understand that. Now, also too, if you are inside of Discord or you're doing anything along those lines, whenever you sign up for Premier Access, which is again not the more affordable tier, but again the $100 tier, you do get access. If you go into your WAP, it has all of our webinars here. This is what we've covered literally inside of Discord, and then we have more workshops where we've gone live over these as well. I usually take questions from Discord, work on them, answer questions back and forth. So all that is going to be inside there for you. But again, you can get a lot of this for free as well. You just have to scroll through all the videos, watch them all, put in the work for yourself. You know, it is what it is. Okay. And I also want to say, if you're looking into getting into trading, Public is officially the new sponsor of the channel. Again, I've been putting my money on that platform as well. It's probably going to do a lot of my long-term investing, buying stocks, leaps, etc. So again, if you're interested, check them out. A few Discord members are already using them, and they're loving them. The link is down below. They do a 1% transfer match as well on your account. So take advantage while you can. Now, going into what we're looking at here, let's dive right in. So step one, where do we start with? Okay. We're going to start with understanding what we're looking at first. We're mapping out futures. And again, this is the pivotal point that really changed everything for me. Because when you're going in and you're just picking a stock like Tesla, you don't really understand what's moving it and why it's moving. Maybe it has some news on the day, but that might not be what's going to actually carry it, or something like Nvidia or Apple, right? Very important to understand what is actually dictating the movement there. And oftentimes it's futures, because again, if you're trading one name inside the NASDAQ, and let's say the NASDAQ overall is pretty bearish, now 9 out of 10 times your stock is going to follow NASDAQ to the downside because it's in the NASDAQ. Same thing with the S&P 500 and the Dow. So it's worth mentioning. So if you're seeing maybe like healthcare is getting slapped on the day, there's a high % chance that the Dow is moving down as well. So it's important to understand what's happening. So all the time, and again, people like to say, can I look at SPY? Can I look at QQQ? You can, but you need to understand you're getting less information here, because futures are literally traded basically 24/5. Like all day and night, Sunday through Friday close, right? And so when you go here and you look at something like SPY, you might be sitting at a level here, but when I go look at ES, you get more information into what's actually happening, and you're actually breaking below some of the levels as well. So you're gonna get a lot more information, and you're gonna get a lot more information as far as the pre-market and the after hours as well. Because if you go look at something like SPY, you're not getting a lot of volume traded on that in the after hours. But when you look at ES, you're getting less volume, but again, you're still getting volume nonetheless. That's why sometimes you see the after hours movement on futures move really, really good going into Asia and London, and then coming into the New York session, you're not really getting that much action. But it's also important to know where those levels are establishing as well. Again, that's what's really going to dictate the movement. So if I come into something like futures here and I start looking, you can clearly see ES is making lower highs and lower lows, which is obviously a downtrend of structure of what's happening. Now, I also get more information as far as the levels that I'm watching here as well. Now, again, I know there's a lot, but it's again, you're going to understand where you're moving and where you're going. There's going to be a lot less levels when it comes into trading SPY and what you're looking at there, because again, you're just less information overall. So what you're really doing is understanding where futures are moving and how you're going to be trading there. Now, something that I use for reference here at all points in time is how I make my watch list every morning. Again, it's the first thing I do. If you're in Discord, you might have like futures and you might be like, well, why don't you know what the hell futures are? But something that I always say here is you got to understand and map out your day before you start doing anything. So before I ever even take a trade, I map out what I'm doing. So I get more bullish or expect a better bounce over 24.42, reestablishing buying above that. We're looking for 24.8 quick. Under 24.2, we're in the range back into 24,000. Under 24,000, it's really ugly, looking back towards immediate downside. So again, understanding where I'm getting the upside, where I'm getting the downside. So then I'm not just picking a stock, but I know when the market breaks this level that I'm looking at trading the upside, trading calls. When we break to the downside, I'm looking at trading puts or favoring the weak stocks as well there. So moving into there, we go into our next area of analysis, creating a trade plan, which we just covered. Now from there, we have our plan ready and then we start to execute. Now the one thing that I will say from executing and developing your trade plan is, for me, my trade plan doesn't necessarily revolve around equities and stocks that I'm going to trade options on. Now, 9 out of 10 times, I already really know what's going on with most of these stocks. Let's use AMD, for instance. So I know AMD is inherently weak, and you'll hear me mention this on videos that I make, usually in the middle of the day. Like AMD is weak under 214, or going into something like Tesla, right? We say Tesla is very weak under 414. We know it's very weak back down. We break levels where we're looking at for the downside. Under 384, we know we're very bearish into 360. So I automatically know if the market's turning weak and we're looking like we're going to get more sell side or more downside overall in the market, that I'm going to favor, okay, well, I know AMD and Tesla are already really weak, so that's where I'm going to shift my focus to very quickly. Now, if we're moving more in the strong side of things, I know Google is the strongest name in the market right now. I might want to focus more on Google to getting more continuation on the upside there. So again, it's understanding what's happening and where you should be looking and where you should be spending your time and your energy. You're also going to make sure that you're probably not missing out on some of the good opportunities that are in front of you. Because again, we know something like AMD, it's already really weak. If we start breaking it below 203, you're pretty illiquid all the way back down to 187. And granted, you went down to like 194, 195, but you still made good money on that trade as well. Worth mentioning so you understand. And again, this will make things very, very simple. It will also dictate when you're over trading and you're taking bad setups and bad trades. Okay, very important to understand. So analyzing market condition, that's usually done for me like every single day. It's not like I have to do that intraday. I already really know what's kind of going on. I can kind of flip through my watch list and look at what's going on there. Now the next step from there is moving into market showing strength or weakness, right? So again, if NASDAQ showing strength, I want to focus on stronger names like we just mentioned, focus on the weaker names if we're moving toward the downside. So after we do that, we identify our market position and we start to make that start to implement our strategy to that as well, which will start going into that also, right? So we're favoring the trend. We're focusing on what's happening there. So we understand we've already mapped out futures. We know where we're going. We know where our targets are there. So we know when we can expect a slowdown in the market, which again is also very important to understand. So when we go into something like, ES here, for instance, right? And ES levels have been pretty beautiful, all things considered. So as we start moving back into 65.56, right here on the hourly, as you can see there, we're kind of rejecting. We start getting back below it here. So we're like, okay, well, obviously sellers are starting to step in. We might start pulling back to our next level of 66.22. Now you're also going to know when you're looking at the market in futures that at certain points, the market gets a lot stronger or a lot weaker. Now, let me give you another example of that. So when I go into something like NASDAQ, and again, I'm using examples of all things that I've been saying here basically over the past few weeks in all my videos. And you're going to notice that everything that I say in the videos, in my opinion, just stacks on top of each other. And I try not to, you shouldn't really be able to see me changing the way that I'm trading or changing the way that I'm thinking, okay? So for the longest time, I've said if you get back above 25.4 here on NASDAQ, you're really bullish because you're breaking back towards all-time highs, you're breaking structure, that's what you want to see. If you start holding below the 50-day moving average, you're very weak and you're looking for a draw, you're looking for sell side liquidity pushing you back down as well. So it's again, knowing those things of what you're looking for. Now the next part, if you zoom out, you bring this up, as you can see that you have a bunch of wicks down here as well, coming basically into right here of around 24.3 to 24.1. So we know this is all kind of support. Now, if we start losing this, we expect selling to get really strong, pushing us back down towards 23,000. So we know there's big levels that we have to be watching as well, to where you either take a step back or you're just like, okay, this could get really ugly really quick. One of those levels recently here was 24.4, which you saw all these wicks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6. You had more wicks here. And then once you lost it here, finally, you literally dropped down in a straight line, almost 500 points in the overnight session. So again, all those things build, all those things stack, and it's important to understand, because when you start finding those levels of where the market gets more aggressive, it makes your trading more simple as well to understand, okay, I should start getting more aggressive on my trading here because it makes more sense statistically. I'm putting myself in a better position to win, or I'm just putting myself, okay, this is a riskier position, but I'm putting myself in a position where, okay, it's riskier, but there's a higher likelihood because futures are also justifying this. Because another thing we also know is when stocks go up fast, they can go down just as fast. When they go down fast, you can go up just as fast. So again, important to understand what we're doing and how we're understanding that as well. You know, it ties right in with futures and with your equities and options. So those stocks, what we're looking at there. So implementing your option strategy is something that I also want to highlight here. Now, I never want people to think that you have to trade like me. I want to make that, you know, abundantly clear. You do not have to trade like me. I have the education there for you. If you like it, you can trade like that if you want. People always ask me about, you know, SMC, smart money concepts, and, you know, things along the lines of fair value gaps. I don't trade that way. I know people that make a lot of money trading that way, and I'm happy for them. But again, that's not really what I do. So if you want to get more information on how I trade, my strategy, it's all there. It really is all there for free. If you are in Discord and you want to get, you know, direct lessons, etc., it's there for you as well. You literally go down to the bottom left. You can't see. I'll move my face out of the way here for a sec. Let me see. Let me grab my face, move me out of the way over here so you can see. It's literally right here at the very bottom of Learn. You just go down to a webinar catalog right here, and this is going to do everything in a row, so you know everything that you need to be looking at for yourself. And again, we made it that way, so again, it's more in order, so hopefully you pay attention. A lot of people end up joining Discord and they never even spend time learning this. They just think they're going to get rich quick. And again, everything that I talk about here, like, you're going to understand, like, it's all built on top of each other in a system. So if you just, and I think this goes with any Discord or anything that you're doing, if you think that you're just going to jump inside of a Discord, you're going to start making money, you're going to be able to follow someone and get rich quick, well, then you're sadly mistaken. And again, I'm not hating on this guy, but I want to use this example because I think it will really clarify and help you guys as well. And again, I'm not hating on his name's hidden also. So he said, I'm literally saying that I'm new to Discord. I have a lot to learn, and Discord was kind of going hard on him. Sorry. Or Discord, I'm not going to lie, it's a tough love place. It wasn't even me going hard on him. I don't know all the references, so I'm definitely confused as shit trying to keep up. When I saw that he sent a screenshot of AMD getting into 195, I thought he meant to buy a contract. It might dip more. I'm not trying to troll, whatever. But again, clarifying what exactly I said, how I was trading, what I was looking at here under 203, you're in trouble, looking for the downside, extreme selling, etc. As we moved into 195, I started closing out a position. So again, if you're joining any Discord, and this goes for anybody, like if you're following anybody whatsoever, put in the work first to make sure you understand what people are trading, how they're trading, but also understanding your own strategy. If you're trying to blindly follow anyone, I promise you're going to most likely lose money exponentially fast. Like, you're going to lose it really fast. I was where you were at one point. I was like, now I'm 27, but you know, I was 19, 18 years old in college, you know, going to junior college, looking at crypto, looking at investing, and I was losing money. Like, that was the reality of it, right? But again, once I slowed down and started treating it like a real job, things started to really click. And once I started putting in that work as well. So again, this is just my personal opinion, how I trade, what I'm looking at things. Stop just picking random stocks. Understand that there's a flow to all of this. And when you start to actually create a system and it builds on top of each other and you actually understand what you're doing, why you're doing everything, it really will start to click as well. And again, I do want to highlight another member. This guy's been in Discord for a while. It's funny. He's like, I've been in Discord for like 3 years. I just did all the lessons and it started clicking. This guy's literally gone on one of the biggest runs that I've ever seen. He literally is up, like, it's an insane amount. So new boot's been going literally just sicko mode in Discord for the past few days. But again, it's all built on each other. It's not like we're giving anyone special treatment. And I just want to make that really clear. And like I said, you don't have to pay for any of this as well. A lot of it's for free on YouTube. But again, if you want to get access, talk to us all day long, things like that. The link is in the bio if you're interested. I'll see you guys in the next video.